I'm pretty sure the ATF is trying to establish a registry, even though it's against the law. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What's up, Wolverines? Welcome to my humble abode. My name is John Crump. I'm an investigative journalist and your best friend. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm really curious to what you guys think about this story. So if you could do that, it would help me out tremendously. Today we are brought to you by JSD Supply. JSD Supply has everything you need for your gun building adventures, from slides to P80 kits to their SIG P320 kit. Check out JSD Supply. They have everything that you need. Today's story is going to be about a possible gun registry. I'm going to be making some leaps and bounds and combining this with other stories to come to that conclusion. But let's go ahead and talk about what's going on. The ATF has issued a statement saying that they will not be issuing variants to let people do off-site storage. I received this tip from an internal contact that I have who sent me an email talking about the changes. Then GOA did me one better, and they provided me with the documents because their source gave them the actual memo that was sent out. Okay, so what it says is that FFLs can no longer store files off-site. Basically, if you have a small little shop and you don't have enough room, you can ask for a variance, and it usually was granted, and you could store those files off-site. Well, the ATF has said that they're no longer going to issue that variance. And they're not going to go through the rule change process because they just misunderstood the Gun Control Act of 1968. Yes, they've been doing this since 1968, but now all of a sudden they realize that they misunderstood the rule. So basically, small little shops have to store all their files up to 25 years on site. Now, here's the kicker. Next year, according to the memo, they are planning to introduce a new rule that will say, instead of having to keep 4473s for 25 years, you get to keep them forever. And you can store them off site after 20 years, but you have to give the ATF authority to search the location where you're storing them off site without a warrant. So basically, you're turning over your rights to that location. But they have a couple of other options for you, and this is where the gun registry comes into play with a story that I reported on a while ago. You can digitize the 4473s and keep a digital record of all the files. This is not a good thing. As I've reported in another leak, IOIs, Industry Operations Investigators, are running retroactive background checks on people that use a CHP, concealed handgun permit, to buy a firearm. In certain states, you don't have to go through NICS. You can present your CHP, and that will suffice for a background check. What I found out from another leak in the past is the IOIs are retroactively running background checks on that. Now think about this. So you go in there, and all the files are digitized, and you're an IOI. You can say, hey, I need to check your files. They can throw it on a flash drive. You can take that back to your office and run background checks to your heart's desire in your own time. Because right now, with the paper files, you have to examine them at location because you cannot take the paper files back to the office with you. But with the flash drive, you can. And what's to say you don't upload that to a database? Think about this. I turned up a leak that in the out of business record office, they were using OCR, optical character recognition scanners, to scan all out of business records into a searchable database, which they don't call a registry. They call it a searchable database, which to me is a registry. Now they can take that flash drive and add those files to the flash drive. They also give you the option, if you don't want to digitize the files and you don't have room to store all the files, you can send all the 4473 to the ATF and they will store them for you. Basically scan them into that searchable database. What this is creating is a huge gun registry. And no one's really talking about it. It is against the law for the ATF to have a gun registry, but they're not calling it a gun registry. The last time I talked to them, they called it a searchable database, which is really freaking bizarre because that's basically a gun registry. The ATF is an out-of-control organization that will do what they want to do. Look at this. This is definitely a rule change. The non-issuance of variances that's been going on forever is definitely a rule change, but they just say, hey, we just misinterpreted a law that's been on the books since 1968, and we just figured it out now in 2021, almost 2022. So I think the whole goal is to create a huge gun registry, and the ATF really, really needs to be reeled in by Congress or whoever, because this is a big deal. When you add all the leaks together, it's pretty obvious what they're doing. And what they're doing is trying to create a gun registry in violation of the law. We can fight back by contacting our representatives and pushing them to reel in the ATF. I'm going to keep on shining light on this and see if we can back them down a little bit. I'm not sure if we can or not, because the ATF is an out-of-control organization that seems to report to no one but themselves. They're basically like a shadow government of anti-gun people. I don't know what the end result will be, but we'll find out soon. All right, with that, I guess I'm out of here. Stay ever free, stay ever vigilant, keep in the fight. Check out my Patreon if you want to help me what I do. You can go to my Patreon at patreon.com/John Crump, and you can check out my live channel where I broadcast 4 times a week at 5 p.m. Eastern. 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern with my good friend, Flying Rich. Check out Rich's channel as well. And remember, Wolverine's motherfucker.